Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Laser Distractions. Thank you all for being here. I want to welcome Ben Warren. He's new to, he just joined to become a YouTube channel member, so I appreciate the support, Ben. And also, he just purchased an Omtech. Looks like he'll be taking delivery on January 30th. So I appreciate your support by using my link, discount code, all that stuff. I sure do appreciate it. I've been out here tinkering around. Been out here most of the afternoon, actually, trying to work on a few things. And you'll notice it's probably pretty quiet in here right now. I just turned the chiller off, got everything shut off. The only thing that's running is that little heater over there. And it doesn't make a lot of noise. But I'll show you some of the stuff I've been playing around with today, and then we'll get into something else. But, everybody loves, if you're a CNC router person, everybody loves a good Aztec calendar. And I have made, of course, this one's not very big. I didn't want to take all day running it. But this one's about 7 inches diameter. And I have run probably 20 or 30 of these things with a CNC router. And I got thinking, well, maybe wonder how I can do it with a laser. I wonder how it turn out. So I don't know if you can see that detail, but it's this thing just continues to amaze me, the detail you can get. And then I tried, now these aren't as good because I was tinkering around with the settings, but this is one of those Star Wars calendar things, and that one's only about 5-inch diameter. Let's see, what else did I do? This is a Marvel Comics, but it's got the Hulk in the middle, but I actually have the image inverted, so it's not really the right way. But I was basically playing around with these settings, and in this one is also, I guess that's Iron Man or something in the middle. But yeah, all those things are fun to do with a laser. And then I have been experimenting with trying to burn QR codes into something that looks kind of like a business card. This is actually the size of a business card, about 3 3/8 by 2 1/8. And I've been playing around. I had the QR code, like, let's see, where is it? Like this one right here. So I got that one from Omtech. Of course, if you take your phone and scan it, it'll take you right to their website. So I tried using that one, and I kept playing around with the settings. I go, well, am I getting it too light? Am I getting it too dark? I wasn't sure, but it just seemed like the phone had trouble reading it. Sometimes it would read it, sometimes it wouldn't. And then I went to watch, good old YouTube University, went to watch some YouTube videos and found out that there's actually a QR code tool in Lightburn where you can create your own. So what I did is I got the link and then used that to create one, and I ran some more. And now that I'm using the QR code that I created using Lightburn, it seems to read much better. So if any of y'all are planning on doing anything like that, that's just a heads up for you. Let's see. I think I saw, let's see, Ryan's here. Roger's here. Jerry's here. Okay. Here's why I have it so quiet in here. I don't have anything running. Alan the other day sent me a message. I still got it here somewhere. Here it is. And he says, "Hi Dave, idea for a laser distraction show. I would love to better understand the linear rails, motion control, stepper setup, the mirror setup, the table lift concept on an Omtech. Many folks who are interested in these coming from a CNC background may be interested in this." So I thought, yep, that's what you want to see. That's what I'll try and show you. And I know we did have a question here from Ben too. He says, could you go over the air assist upgrade installation process and pressure? I can kind of talk about that a little bit, Ben, but I'm going to tell you, I'll show you the upgrades that I've done, but the air assist is not one of them. I'm still currently using the stock air. And the reason I haven't upgraded that yet, I thought for sure I was going to, and then I kept watching this guy. He had the exact same laser that I have, and he was showing all these upgrades he's done, showing all the stuff he's making with his laser. And he never did mention the air assist. So I put a comment on his YouTube video and I said, hey, are you still running the stock air? And if so, do you plan on upgrading, or, what's the deal? And he answered back and he said, yeah, I'm still using the stock air. He says, I'll probably upgrade one day. He goes, but so far the stock air does everything I need it to do. So that made me kind of rethink some things. I'm like, well, instead of just, doing a blank check towards this thing and getting a California Air Tools quiet compressor and all that stuff, the solenoid, because if I do the upgrade, I want to do it right, where you put the solenoid in there and you can control it by light burn, turn it on and off, and adjust the pressure and all that kind of stuff. But I just haven't done it yet, and I've decided I wanted to do like that guy and just use the stock air. And if you look at the videos I've done or the live streams I've done, everything I've cut, I don't need the upgraded air assist, at least right now. I mean, it might help get some things, maybe the cuts maybe a little bit cleaner or something. But so far it's, it's cutting everything I want it to do. So, but we can talk about that here in a little bit. So, Alan, let's see, where do we want to start here? I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to turn this thing on just so it will get my lights inside there running, because it's too dark without those lit up. But I've got of course I got my camera inside the laser here. And let's see, let me go back to your list in that Facebook message. And actually, let me bring it up on the monitor here where I can see it better. Okay, he says, like to better understand the linear rails, motion control, stepper setup. Okay, I'll just keep checking the comments here. So, Alan, if I'm not covering something you want me to cover, just put a comment in there and I'll back up. And I've got my little camera here. I can actually remove this and kind of point at some things. So, as Alan mentioned, and I hope, let me turn this mic a little bit too, maybe, because I know if I get too far away, you can't hear me. As Alan mentioned, this thing runs on linear rails. You've got, you got one on each side here. I think these are, I meant to measure them. I'm sure they're metric, but they're probably, you can get a shot of one right there. Probably 20 millimeters, I think, maybe 15, I don't know. But you've got your, linear guide blocks here on both sides. And then of course you have the same thing here. On the x-axis, you have a linear rail. And there it is. If I can get a shot of it somewhere. Right behind this thing is the linear block, and then it has this little bracket that's mounted got the nozzle mounted to it. You'll notice that this machine, if you don't already know, that my machine is a AF, which stands for autofocus. Let's try to set it there so I don't keep shaking everything. Autofocus 24 by 35. So it's the AF 2435-80, which is an 80-watt machine. And it has this little probe that you see that I just have wire tied. It mounts to a bracket. It hangs down here. It's also got, you can see, I think, if I hold my hand right, yeah, you can see that laser light that's on my hand there. That goes on a bracket, and it, is supposed to line up your, help you find where your nozzle is. And I just took all that stuff loose because I went with these JTech, not JTech, American Photonics lenses. So this is the 2-inch lens in there. I also have a 1.5, a 2.5, and a 4-inch lens. They all come, let's see if I can. Okay, now I'm able to move the bed down. You saw just there with the arrow keys. Let's see if I got it down farther. Yeah, see, these all just come out, and these tubes are different length. The lens is right in here, and these tubes are just different lengths. So this distance, or I guess this distance, is different. But they all come with this air thing, so it's real easy to swap one out. You can just pull this out with the quick disconnect, push that in, get the one you want, slide it in here like so, and you can just, well, I'll turn it the right way, right? Well, there we go. I didn't think I'd loosen it that much. Okay, so you can just, like if this was my material here, I would then bring the bed back up, kind of close, and then I have my little 10.3 millimeter tool that I made, and you can just drop this down, tighten that up, and then you get perfect focal length every time. And the reason I went with these American Photonic lenses is because you have 4 different things, 4 different size lenses, but the focal length is all the same. So you set them up exactly the same, no matter which one you have in there. That's why instead of disconnecting this, I left it all connected, but I just took it out and get it out of the way and tied it up because I won't be using it. It's just too easy to do it real quick loosen this, drop it down on that tool, tighten it back up, and you're done. So that's one thing you'll notice different is all this is just tied up here. If I decide to go back to a stock lens and want to start using that again, I can do it real easily because it's all still connected. Let me check the chat just to make sure I'm not over here talking to myself. And I want to make sure y'all can still hear me. Yeah. Well, it's because I have that camera set up and I'm always doing these live streams. I need to pull that thing out and turn it around and put the other side over on the left-hand side. And then I can kind of even it out because you notice there's not a whole lot of char in the middle and on the right-hand side. So I probably should take that out and switch it around. Let's see. And says, thanks. I think I will wait on this. If you're talking about the compressor thing, if you haven't already got one or have one ordered, I would just try it with the stock air because you might be just like me and find out that it does everything you need. And, it's running right now, so it's relatively quiet. It's probably, I can't imagine any California Air tools or anything like that being as quiet as this is. It may be, but I don't know. Let's see. It says, do you lube the linear rails from time to time? Yeah, it's just kind of like you would do with a CNC. You can, I think some of them say to put white lithium grease. You can see, well, maybe you can. I've got a little bit of goop right there on the end where it's pushed it all to the ends. You can see it's a little messy right there. But yeah, it just, just keep them wiped down and, shoot a little 3-in-1 oil or white lithium grease or whatever your preferred lubricant. Some guys like to use that spray stuff. That would work okay. Bill says, when I change my lens, do I have to run a mirror check? No. You're just by pulling that, changing those lenses out, it shouldn't, it shouldn't have, because you're not moving anything with the mirrors on that thing. So you shouldn't have to realign those or anything. Yeah, and that's why I took that one off. Like I said, it's still connected. You could see the red laser as I held my hand up there. But I could still use that on these other lenses, but you'd have to, you'd have to take it off and put it on the next tube, and you'd have to know exactly where to put, and and then you'd have to spend time calibrating that. And I'm like, the heck with that. It's just as easy to use that little tool, to set the focus length. That's why I just don't plan on using that at all. Like I said, I didn't disconnect it. I left it connected in case I ever need to put a stock lens in and want to do that. I still have that option, but okay. Jerry says that the air compressor really isn't that much louder than the chiller. Certainly less noise than having a CNC running. Well, I can tell you right now, if it looks like you're telling me that the compressor is a little bit louder than the chiller. Well, to me, the chiller is the loudest thing in here. When I have all this fired up, the chiller is the noisiest thing. So that tells me right there that the stock air, because I don't know if you guys can even hear it. It's just a little hum, and it's on all the time as soon as you power up. Like when I turn this off, it should have gotten even quieter. But when you turn this on, you just hear like a little hum. And it's not very loud at all. So that's what I mean. I'm sure an air compressor is going to be louder than that. Okay, I'm going to, let's see. He'd also ask about the stepper, let's see, motion control stepper setup, the mirror setup, the table lift concept. Okay, a lot of these things I can show you right here from the front of the machine. So let me do that. I think you'll be able to see everything. And I will try to hold this camera as still as I can. But let me prop it up there for a second. I'll open up this compartment under here. And I'm having to look back up the screen. I think you can see this pretty good, although it is a little dark under here. There is a sloped tray where when everything drops down through the honeycomb, all the little crumb pieces, they should gather in this right here, this little crumb tray. Let's see if I can get it. Well, I don't know how good you can see it there. Okay, now here is the setup on mine. Now some of the Omtech lasers, and don't ask me which ones because I don't really know, but some of them use, instead of a chain, they have they have the same Acme rods in all four corners, but they, instead of a chain sprocket, they're using a little belt pulley. And they have a, I don't know, it's probably about 1 inch wide or so. And that's how this works. You have a chain. Again, I don't know. Let me see if you're seeing that. Well, tell you what. Bear with me a second. I'll go open up the back, and that way it should light it up where you can see better. Okay, now you should be able to see a little better. You can see the back panel has the that silver hose. It's a 6-inch hose running from the air outlet to to a flange on that back panel, and then you hook you can see that black hose that I have going over to the wall. That's hooked up to the outside part of that flange. So that's how that works. And then you can see that there's a NEMA 34 stepper motor right there, and that's what controls the raising the bed. Let's see here. Let me so you can see how that works. That stepper motor just moves that chain, which in turn moves all 4 of those threaded rods at the same time. At least that's the way it's supposed to work. They're all supposed to move at the same time. I actually wish, I'm not complaining, but I kind of wish I had the one with the belts instead of the chain. I have just never been a fan of chain drive stuff, keeping stuff equal, and this is supposed to raise everything exactly the same and all that. And I don't know. I have just seen where, you know, I can cut everything great on the left-hand side, and if I move it all the way to the far right-hand side, it still cuts pretty good, but it seems like I'll have to change the settings to get it to cut. I can still get good cuts, but it seems like it takes a little more power. Now, granted, the beam is shooting farther over, but a lot of it has to do with that bed. It's almost impossible to keep this honeycomb bed perfectly level in all four corners. And especially once you move it up and down, that's why usually when I get mine set, I'm pretty much running the same kind of material or reasonably the same thickness. And plus you got a little play in that lens by dropping it up or down. So I like to try to get the bed level, or I say level, it's not really level. It's parallel to the gantry. So you get it in all four corners where you use something to check the gap on the nozzle. And once I get it close, I try not to move the bed up or down, because it seems like every time you move it up or down, you come back and check it again and you're off on one corner or the other. So yeah, Alan's asking about that. Yes, that's one of the first things I did as part of well, not the first, but as part of the setup. Let me set the holy moly. I set that camera down there for that magnet. That magnet's so strong I about couldn't get it off. Okay, so when you're doing the bed, what you would do is you would come back here and get the bed where you want it, and then check that under there. And then you would come up here to this corner, check over there, then you would come across over here. Man, I've done something. It's like those okay, I hope I didn't mess something up. I was hitting the wrong button a while ago and I hit a reset button. So no telling what I've messed up there. But anyway, you would just go to all four corners and then come right in here in the middle and check it with a spacer. And if you need to adjust one of those, say you've got all three corners are pretty good, but the left front is a little low, you would open up that panel that I've got open right here. Right here, I think you can probably see it. There's a cap screw that tightens that pulley to that Acme lead screw. You would loosen that enough so that you can turn that lead screw without moving the chain, and then you would turn it to raise or lower the bed to get the spacing set right. And then once you get it set, you tighten that cap screw again, and you should be good to go. Also, while I got this open, if you look back there, that is that little air pump that's on some rubber feet. So it's really pretty quiet. It's just kind of a hum. You don't really, it's not noisy at all like a compressor. Let me see if I can I'm going to try to get, I'm sorry if I'm making y'all dizzy. I'm trying to get this camera where I can see. I tell you what, with those lights, that makes it tough trying to see. Okay, I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can see that or not. Let me look and see what I'm. Yeah, I think you can. Okay, right. We'll try to get me some kind of pointer here. Right here is a stepper motor. And there's a coupler right here. There's another coupler right here. So it's one of those stepper motors. It's got the shaft running all the way through it. And then it goes down here to a pulley on each side. And that's what runs this gantry back and forth. Over here is the stepper motor. There you can see the pulley right there. So there's a stepper motor here, and of course it runs this belt here, and it moves the X back and forth. These are some, I don't know the torque specs on them. I probably could find out somewhere, but they're like, look, they're kind of a stubby NEMA 23 stepper motor. And then of course you've got these orange things here are, trying to see where they're all at. That is the, you see there's one here and there's one over there. There's one. Yeah, I think there's one somewhere back in there. But that's what keeps it from, or what it uses to home. When I fire this up, it should go, you'll see it always goes to the top right or back that way when I start it up. I don't know if you could see it or not, but when it went over back there, when it went over, it tripped that switch. And if you look real close, you can see it come back off that switch real slow. And then when it finds that, that's the home position. And then it's set up to automatically go to the last origin that was set. So, for example, if I bring it over here and I make that my origin, and now I turn it off and I tell it to turn it back on, and it'll now go back home. Now it should come to right there where I last set the origin. Okay, let me take a break here and check the comments, make sure I'm not missing any questions. Plus I know y'all can't Jerry says the lift method is definitely not NASA approved, but if I move it for a different thickness material, I will test it in 9 points. Yeah, Jerry, now, didn't you say you got the American photonic lenses like I did? Because if you did, you know, you'd have to really change the thickness before you'd even need to lower the bed, because you've got a lot of play right here in all of those lenses. And like I said, all you have to do is worry about putting your, you know, your AAA battery that they send, or in my case, I made these little 10.3 things. So that's the thickness I'm using for my focal length. So you probably won't have to move it much. And like I said, when you get your beds set and pretty level, it's best not to move it because it's not going to stay level. You start moving it around, it's going to get off. Those are Acme threads, just like kind of like a lead screw on a CNC. Let's see here. No, it has little proximity switches, those little orange switches. That's right here. And another one back there in that corner. That's what it's using. Okay, Jerry's talking about the air assist, the same air assist they suggest for diode lasers. I got one for the X tool. Okay. Yeah, Ryan says that stuff comes right off. I have a pressure washer if I need to drag that thing out and go crazy with it. But for right now, I'll probably just cheat and take that thing out and turn it around. And of course, then that's probably going to make the bed be off again, so I'll have to reset the level on it and all that. But okay, Jerry said, I did not know you could adjust the lens like that. I pushed it all the way in. Yeah, there's a video by the guy that, I don't remember his name, but it's the guy that, you know, the head guy at American Photonics. And that's the way you do it. You just stick it in there, any old place, snug it up, put your material under there, get it close enough that you know it's going to reach the material. And then you put your spacer in there, loosen it up, let it drop down till it rests on top of your gauge, tighten it back up, pull it out, and you're done. It's super fast to do. And when I saw how those American Photonic lens kits work, it was a no-brainer for me. I'm like, yeah, that's way better than the stock setup. So, and plus the lens themselves are a higher quality. They're made here in the U.S. That guy's down in Florida. So they're everybody I've seen in the Facebook group that has used the stock lens and then switched to American Photonics always talks about what an improvement right off the bat without really doing much of anything else. Let's see here. Alan says, what are the lid windows made of? I noticed they're the same color as protective laser glasses for CO2 wavelength. Yeah, let me grab the camera here. It's this colored plexiglass stuff. It's, if I hold it up here, you can see how that what they've done is they've taken a press brake and formed this. You can actually form this stuff, and if you heat it a little bit, it won't crack. And mine, if you look, it doesn't have any cracks in it. Of course, it's got that brown sticky paper on it that's hard as hell to get off. But yeah, they formed this in a press brake. It's looks like it's about quarter, but I'm sure it's metric, so it's probably 6 millimeter or 0.236. And of course, this lid, as you can see, is kind of reinforced. This is some not super thick, but tube steel, and then it's got the little air shock things there, whatever you call those things. So that does pretty good. Let's see. Let me talk about the Okay, Bill says, is my honeycomb bed fixed? My 50 watt has a knife edge support bed that the honeycomb sets on. It is not fixed, Bill. It's, in fact, you can see I can slide it all around, which there have been some people do videos where they pick a spot on the side here and they'll drill holes and then run a self-tapping screw down in there to fasten it, and then they'll put themselves a a piece of material on the side, and then they'll cut an L shape, either going up that way or however which way they want to do it, and then that way they can stick the material in there, kind of like you would on a CNC. You can stick your material in there and get some good repeatability. I haven't bothered doing that just because I'm not doing production. I'm just out here pilling around making stuff that I want to make. So I don't, I'm not trying to do anything to get super quick with it. But it does have the knife thing. There's like 26 of them, I think. I don't know if you can. Yeah, you can see them right there. There's one. There's another one. I think I've got them like every, I don't know, 4 or 5 slots. I think there was 26 of them in there. All right, let's yeah, and you could take that honeycomb bed out if you wanted to and just set your material right on those knives. Alan says, have you had to adjust the mirrors on it? I had to adjust them when I first got it. Alan, if you watched my so-called unboxing or uncrating video, you probably know that this crate sustained some damage. It had a little hole at near the top of the crate, and you couldn't tell there was any damage. You could stick your hand through that hole, and you could tell the hole was made by a fork on a forklift, but I thought it had gone over and just maybe grazed the cardboard, but it must have caught that because it's got a bent up spot, and I'll show that around when we walk around back here. But it did kind of knock stuff off. It made the tube, fortunately it didn't break the tube, but it made the tube where it wasn't hitting in the center. So the first thing I had to do was get the tube raised up a little bit so that it's hitting the center of the first mirror, and then I'll work myself way around. But while I got the camera right here, I'll show this. And this is one thing that, a lot of guys, well, I won't say a lot, but some people will try to cover this up with a piece of metal or something, and that way they can run with the door up and stuff like that. And of course, you're defeating the purpose of the safety thing. That's all for safety purposes. But if I take, let's see if I can take some. Okay, well, you can't see it. All right, here's the these little safety things. See, if I hold this metal knife, see, you can defeat the thing, and now this thing will run with the door open. But if you're going to do that, you got to be smart, because you got to remember, unlike a diode laser beam, you can't see this one. And when you think about it, I'll have to go to the back, but the tube runs back there, long ways like this. Then the beam comes out of this end of the tube. Then there's an angled mirror right back there in the corner, and probably can't see it. It's way back in there. So that beam comes out and it shoots from there to right here, where this second mirror is. Okay, so if you open up this panel over here and stick your hand up in here while this thing's running, right through here, you're sticking it right through the beam, and it'll let you know in a hurry. Same thing is true here. It's you know, you might be looking here, and if you rig this up where you're disabling the safety device, and I've seen guys on YouTube say they're going to do it, and I'm like, there's no reason to, really. But you know, if you get to messing around and you decide you want to touch, you know, reach in here and do something, you got to remember there's a beam running across here. So I would not recommend trying to cheat the system at all. Like I said, you can put a piece of metal right there and leave the door up. You can tape something right there, and you can run all day long. But there's just no reason to do that. Plus, your fume extraction is going to suck when you got the, or not suck, I should say, when you got this thing wide open. It's better to have it closed to help with the fume extraction. All right, let me see if I can, I think I can move this camera. And I'm going to walk around back. Let me check the comments real quick. Let's see. Jerry says, I checked mine out of the box, but didn't change anything as long as it doesn't get hit like mine. Should be set up. Yeah. Yeah. And there's a lot of people that have, in fact, I get jealous every time I watch somebody post something on Facebook and they're like, yeah, you know, they open up the crate and everything's pristine. There's no damage or anything. And then they go, yep, it's lined up right out of the box. And I'm like, oh, I wish mine had been, but it wasn't. Okay, so let me head back here. Let me check. Yeah, exactly. There's really no good reason to do that. It's just stupid in my book. But I know there's a guy on YouTube that, you know, said he was going to do it, and he said, "Now don't you do it, but I'm going to do it." And I'm like, "Okay, knucklehead, whatever." Do I have any idea who makes the laser tube? We will go. I'm going to head back there now. Now I can't see the comments while I'm back there. All right, I'm going to holler kind of loud. I hope y'all can still hear me. I'll try to turn this mic. Okay. All right, can you hear me now? That's what I figured. I'd get over there and something would happen and I can't tell that you can't hear me or see me or whatever. So you probably didn't hear any of that shit I was saying, did you? All right, all right. Jerry's going through, he's putting the stuff on there. So, how long has my mic been out? Shit. Oh yeah, it's been out. It's been out a minute, hasn't it? Oh gosh. Okay, I think we should be good now with the sound. Okay, so Jerry, if you just read Jerry's comments, he was doing the narration. Thank you, Jerry. All right, so did I not cover anything you wanted me to cover, Alan? No, and I can show you something, but I don't know how helpful it's going to be. If you go to Omtech's website and search I think this is where I saw it. Okay, let me share my screen here. I think it's this one right here. Well, that's the 100 watt. Somewhere in here, there's a place, and it's been a minute now, so I don't remember where it was. But there's a thing where you can check the tube. I know there's a label on that tube. It doesn't really call out a manufacturer's, but it says FR2 or F2, something like that. So what I did is I Googled I think that's what it is. Here we go. So I think it's this one here is the one that I have. EFR. That looks like the same label. They don't really have a decent label, but if you look here, it will say, no, that's not what I'm looking for either. There's someplace I went because there's a letter. I think it's well, let me go look. Okay, when I was trying to do the test, mine says F2. I would come and Google that. And then somewhere in here, it says F series. tubes. And if you come right here, it says F2. It's 1250 millimeters long. It's 80 millimeters diameter. It's 80 watts. Maximum power is 95, which that's what mine is. And somewhere on here, if you click on that, nope, that's trying to sell you one, I guess. Somewhere in here, I found out that for my tube, the maximum milliamp is 28 milliamps. Oh, wait a minute. Here it is right here. My bad. It's right here. Operating current 28. So that's the that's where I got my number, so that when I did that power line test, and we did one of those one night on this Laser Distractions, that's how I determined where I need to run mine at. Okay, another thing I'll do here is I didn't show you this, so let me turn this camera back on for a second. See if I can. I hope that mic's still good. Okay, I didn't show you this part either. This is the gauge that shows the milliamp. Why they decided to put it over here versus over there where everything else is, I'm not sure. The only thing I can figure is the power supply for the laser is on this side. Power supply for everything else, the controller and the lights and all that stuff, is over there on that side. But if I set this right here and I turn the laser key on, now you can see that light up. And as you're running, this will show the milliamps that you're running. It says laser signal is off. It won't, even though this is lit up, that'll say off unless it's firing. And it also has water protection on, which lets you know there's a little flow sensor, so that if for some reason you should get a kink in your hose or low water level or whatever, and it's not getting enough water to keep the tube cold or cooled, that will sound an alarm. So that's what that's for. Okay. Have I missed anything? Lots of show and tell, not much tell there for a bit. Yeah. I tell you what, I just don't have any luck with damn microphones. For some reason. Let's see. Jerry says, I think all the laser tubes are cloud ready. That might be who makes them. I don't know. That website that I've got up here, it just says Laser EFR Laser, whoever that is. But that one looks exactly like mine. And it's got that it says model F2 on what little bit of stickers it has on it. So, and then everything else checks out. So. All righty, let's see. Okay, let's see. Alan says, remind me, does it have a current indicator? Yeah, I must have missed that, but that's what I just showed over there. The little gauge. Yeah, for some reason, a lot of people will say that the digital ones aren't any good, and they'll get the analog thing, and I don't know what the difference is. The only thing I can figure is sometimes the laser's doing stuff so fast that can't keep up. So you're not really seeing every little number that it hits because it's way past it. So, and I guess if you had an analog meter, you know, that little needle, you'd see it move. But I don't know. I didn't see any need to add a analog meter. All right. Yeah, we're over an hour here. I'm sorry I messed up the damn microphone. I was afraid if I didn't turn it, because I was all the way, because then I'm talking to the back of the mic and it's set on the cardioid thing where it's not supposed to pick up except in the front. That's why I kept trying to turn it as I was moving around. But somehow that little USB connection under there must have come loose or something. But who knows? You know, my luck with microphones. And I only have slightly better luck with cameras, I think. So Ryan says, can I add any more custom dents to it? I will once that tube goes out. I'll be. See, the thing about it is where I need to bang on it to straighten it out, because I need to push it that way. Well, in order to do that, you need to hammer from the inside. And with that glass all around there, I'm like, nah, I'm not doing that. So I put that big clamp on it and tighten the heck out of that. And that kind of pulled that thing back. You know, I mean, you can still see it's dented, but it pulled it back to where you could open that cover for the tube easy enough. And I thought, you know, as far as the machine, there's nothing wrong with the mechanical parts of the machine because I checked that out thoroughly. But when I contact, you know, that's one, I got this thing on the 18th of October. And if you've ever watched somebody uncrate one of these, if they have a helper, you can take all of the screws around the bottom of the crate, basically get the box loose from the base, the pallet that it's screwed to. And if you got a helper, there's hand holes on each side. You can pick it up and carefully lift it up over the laser and then move it. Then you still got your box is still intact. Well, in my case, I didn't have a helper, so I ended up taking all of it apart. Well, then once I did that and found that damage, I shot a video, uploaded it to YouTube, kept it private so you know nobody else would see it but me, and then sent Omtech a link to it so that they could see what was going on. And you know, several days passed, you know, before I really got it straightened out with them. And they said, well, we can send you another one, but you'll have to, you know, pack that one back up. And I'm like, oh crap, because I had to take everything apart. Like I said, because I was by myself, I didn't have a helper to lift it off. So I wasn't looking forward to that. And then the guy says, well, what do you want to do? And I says, well, if it's all the same to you guys, I said, I'll just keep this one. I says, because it's a little banged up, but I says, the machine itself isn't hurt. I said, I'm a sheet metal guy. I know it's just cosmetic stuff. And I'm okay with it if you guys are okay with it. So they said, well, if that's what you want to do. And like I said, once I finally got the okay and we got all that settled, because I didn't want to do anything to it until I knew it was going to stay here. So once we got all that hashed out, then I started doing the upgrades. And I guess I could talk about those real quick too. I've already done a video. Let's see, Ben, I guess, was the one wanting to know about the upgrades and stuff I've done. But the main thing I did is I took out the stock fan. Now on that back panel, where you saw the black hose on the outside and the silvery hose on the inside. Right in there is a little rinky dink. Okay. I'm over there pulling out all these drawers and I had it sitting right on top of the toolbox. This is the stock fan, and you can see it's got holes, so it's screwed inside that little flange there. And I took this out because I had already ordered a AC Infinity 6-inch, and that is swap cameras again. Okay, there you can see the Infinity mounted just below that window. That's a piece of 1/2-inch plywood with a 3D printed 6-inch flange screwed to it. And then on the back side of it, there's some of that white insulation foam. And there's also on the outside is a big 6-inch vent, kind of like a dryer vent. It's got the flaps on it so that it'll close to help keep the cold out and the critters out. But that's the AC Infinity fan that I used to replace the stock fan. The other thing I didn't show is I have the C5202 chiller, and you can see it has 4 little things there. Well, 2 inlets and 2 outlets. So the 2 hoses on the far side you can see are going to the back of the laser, and then the other 2 is an inlet and outlet, and I just have a piece loop there. But that chiller is made to where you can run 2 lasers off of that one chiller. And they provided some little plastic Y things where you could actually use both inlets and both outlets and run them to one laser. But I really wished I had about another foot on each one of those hoses, so I just ran it like that and cut a little short piece and put a loop on there to work that other one. And of course, that way it's easy. Should I ever get another laser, all I got to do is, hook 2 more hoses up and take that loop off, and it's ready to go. So, okay. Okay, let's see. Jerry said I could take a ball peen hammer and put a matching dent on the opposite side. Yeah, but I don't want to have to put a clamp on the other side. It's bad enough I'm tying up one of my clamps just for something like that. Let's see. Jerry says I had to go one part at a time and pick one part at a time. Is way too big to solo. Okay. Some of the guys on Facebook lose their mind on the ship back thing. If it isn't hurt, just go to town. Works perfect still. Yeah. Well, I mean, I can see some people, especially if you buy one of them 150-watt machines and you spending 10 grand, I would want it without a scratch on it. But one, they provided this machine, everybody knows I didn't buy this thing. They, partnered with me and said, we're going to send you one. So they sent me the machine and the chiller. So I mean, even though it was, that I didn't buy it and they sent it and it got damaged, they still were going to replace it. They go, well, we'll send you another one. And I'm like, man, it's really nothing wrong with this one. It'll work fine. And I don't know what, if I had sent it back, they'd ended up selling it to somebody else as a, scratching dents or something. But I'm glad I kept it because, forget about the dent and the banged up cosmetic stuff. It runs like a champ. So that's what's important to me. Yeah, Jerry says, Mike, turn that stop fan, soldering fume extractor. Yeah, it'd probably be good enough for that, I guess. Use the Y adapters for second laser. Yeah. All right. Well, I guess, Alan, I hope I got your questions answered. Like I said, I know people probably think I'm just saying this because I partnered with Omtech and I'm an affiliate and all that stuff. But anybody that knows me should know me and know that if it ain't something good, I'm going to tell you it ain't something good. But this thing has, other than the dent, it has been fantastic. And there's lots of video proof for you to see because I've been making all kinds of stuff. And it just cuts like a champ. I can't complain at all. So it's, there's lots of other good lasers out there, but I don't know that there's, turn that off, let it get quiet in here. When you're talking about best bang for the buck, these are a really good bang for the buck, especially if you don't mind getting your hands dirty and setting the thing up, because it may or may not come in ready to run. Some of these other ones that cost a third or a half as much more, if it's not ready to run right out of the box, they'll come hold your hand and fix it for you. I'm not one of those kind of people. So if I get ready to get another one, I would have no qualms at all about looking at an Omtech laser. And that goes for any of them, really. The fiber, what is it, fiber MOPA and all that stuff. And then I don't even know what all them things are because I haven't looked into them that much. And even that Polar that they have out, I keep saying it's kind of like a Glowforge, only I think it's better than Glowforge. It's got a 50-watt tube instead of a 40 or a 45. Like I think the 45 comes in the Glowforge Pro Plus or something that's about $7 or $8 grand. But so it's got more power than the Glowforge. But the best thing of all is, unlike the Glowforge, you do not have to be connected to the internet. You can run it with Lightburn just, without being connected to the internet. Whereas the Glowforge, you have to go to their little thing. And I don't like being tied down to something like that. So, all right. We've been on here an hour and 23. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I didn't know how long all that was going to take. You know me, I usually get long-winded on stuff like that, but I've got some white tiles that I've had painted and over here in a box. We might try to do some white tiles next week. And if anybody's interested in that little QR code tool, I'll be happy to show, you folks that do these craft fairs and stuff like that. That would be a handy thing to have that on like some little cards. And this, like I said, I made this pretty much the size of a credit card, or actually it's too thick because I'm using what drop I had. But yeah, have that where people can just scan it with their phone and takes them right to the website or whatever you want, wherever you want to take them. Is what those QR codes are good for. So, all right, I guess we're going to get out of here for tonight. Thank you all for hanging around. Thank you all so much for supporting the channel. You guys have no idea how much I appreciate that, because that little dab helps, keep me in some wood and stuff to do all this stuff that I try to do. So I really, really appreciate that. And I guess that's going to do it. We will get out of here. Any final questions? Let me double check. Jerry says, got any slate? I don't have any slate yet. And I haven't tried to do anything. You can't really do metal with a CO2 unless you use that marking stuff. I haven't even thought about getting into that. I might try to order some slate though. I've got a whole bunch of 6x6 white tiles and 4x4 white tiles, and I brought a bunch of them out here. I don't know, 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, and got them painted up. And they're painted white, so you can't, it's hard to tell by looking at them that you painted them. So I made sure I kept them separate. I got them in a box over here. So we're ready to do a demo on those one night. Maybe we'll do that next week or something. But anyway, thank y'all much for hanging around, and I hope I got your question answered. If I didn't, and you want to go check something out further, here's the QR code. You can hit that, and of course, as I mentioned, I'm an affiliate. So if you do decide to get something, make sure you use that coupon code. Get you 5% off your order. So anyway, we will get out of here. So everybody have a good one, and see you at the next one.